The disagreement will come inside your heart straight away. As soon as you meet the person and they tell you, listen, I want to do this and I will want you to do this. And you're like, no, you can do that, but I cannot do this.
Reach for growth, reach for more. Performance marketing hardcore. Tune in, listen, hear the lore. Reach for growth.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Reach for Growth. I am your host, Gamal.
I am Shahzeb Naeem. And honestly, honored to be here. What else?
Shahzeb, today we're going to have a discussion around AI and data analysis. I just want to have a question for me to understand first. What is the difference between AI, machine learning, data science, and all of that?
Okay, عربي ولا إنجليزي؟
زي ما تحب.
Okay, خلاص. AI يعني is the bigger thing of all of them. So we have AI as a bigger circle. Inside that we have machine learning, okay, and then inside that we have data scientist, or maybe data scientist. It could be either way, machine learning and data scientist. Essentially, a data scientist is going to use the machine learning models. So it has to be AI, data scientist, and machine learning. The terms are honestly at this moment interchangeable. So you can just use either one of them. It's fine.
So in terms of AI, what AI does that machine learning doesn't do, and what machine learning does that data analysis doesn't do?
Okay, that's interesting. In AI, you have models such as you have something called fuzzy systems. So these are rule-based, let's say, AI models, right? You're still automating the computer, but based on rules. You're not training machine learning models. Machine learning models, you don't have any of that. You just give the data and you give the models and it just starts training. So there's no rules involved. There's, of course, a mixture of the two, wherein the fuzzy logic or the fuzzy systems come in tandem with the machine learning models, deep learning models, and then you get an output after that. In terms of the data analysis, essentially, data analysis can be in many ways. Right? You can also do it without machine learning. You can essentially try and see the correlations between different variables. The way machine learning kicks into data analysis would be when you actually train a model. So when you train a machine learning model and you're getting, let's say, 95% accuracy. Now you want to see, why am I getting this accuracy? That's where such a data analysis would kick in, wherein you would see what feature is contributing the most for you to be able to get this output. This is something that I'm kind of doing as well right now in my research. So, and then, for example, if you're someone who does marketing, you could view things as, in a way where you are trying to predict, let's say, why are people buying this product more? So you have, of course, you have your features, right? The time of the year, the gender of the person. Of course, you're going to anonymize all of this, right? And then essentially when you have all of these things, you want to see, why is the person buying what they are? Then because of this, you can see this is the most contributing factor in me being able to predict these outputs, right? That means I need to work on this specific variable. So it could be retention time. Maybe I have to increase my retention time. Maybe I have to do this, maybe I have to do that, So that's where this kind of thing kicks in, data analysis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, I guess, and again, I guess my role here as a host is to be as stupid as possible, so I can ask all the questions that anyone of the listeners can do. But honestly, I don't understand fully, so I'm going to ask again more questions to get it more. So data analysis, I have a set of data. I just need to get more insights out of this data. Data scientist or data science, it's more like this, but it's more powerful in a way that it's use more advanced techniques to get correlation, to get an automated way, maybe with a great sum of data and all of that. This is my understanding.
So you're a scientist of data, right? You're trying to use the data for the application you have at hand. Simple as that. Let's keep it as simple as that. You have the data, you use it for the best possible application you can get out of it for, let's say, your business or your research or anything like that. That's why a lot of these businesses may not have a machine learning engineer, but then they call it, a data scientist. And essentially, you could also consider a data scientist as a person who doesn't just do the machine learning part, but also does the data analysis part. So it's like multiple roles being combined into one. Because now he can run those machine learning models, but he can also work just simply on the data. He may sometimes even have to do data engineering, may have to, get the data for himself. And of course, he may have to sometimes even annotate data depending on the size of the company. If you're a startup, for example, you're going to have to do all these things yourself in the beginning until you get your funds and you hire people for different tasks. So, and that way you can say data scientist encompasses more than a machine learning engineer. But the thing is, at this moment of time, they're interchangeable.
And okay, so now the next level or what becomes more famous right now is the AI.
Yeah.
And in an ideal world, how AI is different than data scientist?
It's not really that different because data scientists, data science is a subset of AI. Simple as that. So the difference is that AI covers more stuff than just, data science. And honestly, anything that enables a computer to be automated, you can consider that AI because it is.
Yeah.
Right.
But nowadays, I guess when people say AI, they don't mean just the automation of computer and all of that. They mean the generative capabilities when it comes to generating content, generating images, and all of that.
Yeah.
And when it comes to data, they look into how can they use the AI to understand the data, come up with insights, or maybe take a decision based on that. So in this context now, how is it different than just data scientists?
The thing is, you have data now. You have more data than you used to have or you ever used to have. I'm not going to be one of the conspiracy theorists and say, everything you're saying is being recorded and, even though it is. But essentially, there's so much more data now that you have. So it's a simple term. You probably know about this. Data in is equal to data out, right? So there's so much data with so much variability, with so many factors and everything. So as these models kept growing bigger and bigger, becoming more complex, they want more data. Machine learning per se. So we have two facets. Or we have deep learning, we have machine learning. There is a difference. Although you can consider deep learning as a subset of machine learning, but machine learning models are usually considered those that are things like random forests, decision trees. You probably heard of trees, You have logistic regression. Again, things like that, which are much simpler, much easier on, in terms of the resources required to run them. But then there's deep learning. Complex. You don't know what's happening inside. They consider it, or they call it, a black box. What is happening? Because you don't know. And they're trying to, use different techniques like interpretable AI and things like that to try and understand exactly what's happening. But it's so difficult because there's so many layers. I mean, there are models out there with like millions of layers inside. So because of this, you have to understand that these models, because they're so complex, they need more data. If the data is small, they're just going to they're essentially going to zoom in so much to a small data's information that they'll not be able to extract anything at all. That's where these large data sets and these large models now, basically, you can consider them, they support each other. They bring the best out of each other. And because of that, now you have, it's a lot of success of these, LLMs and things like that. Of course, the architecture keeps evolving, but it's a lot related to hit and trial, hit or miss, People just keep trying. If it works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. But because now we have a huge amount of data, a huge amount of resources, GPU power was not there before. That's why you see this, sudden advancement in AI because you have these resources kicking in. You have the data now kicking in. I don't know how much, I think like people are going to start making policies regarding that. Eventually, governments are going to kick in. But, aside from that, we have this. And so that's why you see the success of all these models. LLMs. Now you have something interesting where you have the video production capability. Everyone is excited about that right now, you have, the thing about that, which is, okay, still we have a cartoonish element to those videos. And the fact that we can't control them fully is the issue at the moment. But once these things are now, overcome, what's going to happen to all these actors, these actresses, and things like that? We don't know. Because you can just produce a film sitting at home, and without coding, by the way. Because you have the trained model at the back and has so much data, it can understand things so well. You don't really have to, think of, okay, how is this going to, I don't have to train anything. I just have to give it prompt. Prompt engineering, you've heard that. It's a job nowadays. So that's another thing that kicks in. But I have something interesting to talk about, which you probably want to know. Like, AI is becoming intelligent. It's actually becoming intelligent. What if it one day builds a conscience? It has its own conscience. It decides on its own what is good, what is bad. And knowing how powerful it is, what happens if, let's be honest, the paragraphs and stuff you see from AI now, they're so convincing. And they can change people's, opinions. I just posted about this on LinkedIn 2 days ago. What if AI can just be used to change people's opinions and manipulate people, right? At the moment, human beings are doing that. But what if one day AI can do it on its own?
Automatically. The whole process.
Yeah. So that's going to be crazy. I think it could happen. It's not really a conspiracy theory anymore. I don't think so, because you're continuing to give it so much data, right? And of course, even if someone does control it from the back, it's difficult to know. There's so much training, and so what happens essentially is, for example, let's talk about where I come from, or what I'm doing currently is, it's difficult for someone like you or me. Well, actually, depending on where you are, like if you have access to resources, you can do a lot of things differently. But if you don't, usually what people do is they take pre-trained models, right? And they train on them. So I have something trained on many different images and things like that. I'm just going to train it for being able to classify, for example, 3 classes, right? So that's where that kicks in. And that's what usually people do. But these bigger companies, why does Google have success? Why does Microsoft have success? Because they have the data centers, they have the GPUs, they have everything. So they're able to train models from scratch. Essentially, most companies, what we try to do is, what they try to do is the fact that they try to, adapt them for their application and give people, businesses, the solutions, which is cool, it works. But the real magic happens before these people kick in. Because these big companies can actually control, what kind of models they train. They have the resources. Henceforth, they have the confidentiality and things like that. But, so that's essentially something I wanted to talk about, I guess. What else?
Yeah, wow, awesome. Like you mentioned a lot of things, and I'm going to unpack some of them right now. So we started first by mentioning data in, data out, meaning like the quality of the output relying on the quality of the input
100%.
that we have in terms of the
100%.
data. Then you spoke a little bit about the difference between supervised learning versus unsupervised learning, the black box, the unsupervised learning, which actually lead to the AI and how AI makes a decision or make the output that we see.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned a little bit regarding the regulation and how countries right now, they're creating regulation, especially, think about it, there is Sensia AI, the one that generate an avatar out of you with the same voice or maybe different voice, and with just small output, maybe a video of the person, which anyone with social media right now, you can take a video out of them, upload it. And so it's really scary. And a lot of companies right now, they have already regulations and policies when it comes to AI regulation. Then you discussed a little bit about, and also this was another thing regarding Hollywood and the movies and all of that. And I guess right now, even in the US, people, actors are protesting because it's putting them out of their job.
100%.
Yeah, not the senior actors.
But I have a disagreement. I mean, okay, people say that AI can take jobs away and things like that. But I say, you know what? I mean, you can say that, but it brings out new jobs as well, doesn't it? It's just that you have to adapt with the time, right? Okay, people say coding is going to be taken out of the picture, right? And so all AI engineers are going to go out of the market. Yeah, but guess what? The same AI engineers will be the ones needed to make those models better, these huge models. And those same AI engineers will likely be the first ones to adapt to these prompt engineering jobs and stuff. Okay, others can, but these AI engineers will probably be the first ones if they're quick enough, or if they really want to be successful in their field. But of course, if you slack off in this day and age, khalas.
I honestly disagree. I think AI will going to take, because it's all depends on your narrative, on what you're going to say. If you think about it this way, it's going to be replaced with people who have the skills, yes, but like how many? How many are we talking about is going to be replaced? Is it going to be 10 replaced by 10, or 1 replaced by 100, 1 replacing 100, or 1 replacing 1,000? So this is also the layer of complexity when it comes to the use cases and how. And again, it's not only about coding, and a lot of use cases can be automated with AI.
Yeah.
And the narrative right now is that if you want to be more valuable to your company, if you're working in a company, go learn AI so you can do it better. Yeah, this is good. But also, in the near future, there will become startups that can actually offer multiple use cases related to, for example, marketing, related to coding, and give it to companies with friction of an employee price.
Akid. Okay, yeah. I mean, we agree to disagree. We agree to disagree.
Yeah.
You are right. Of course, jobs are going to be taken away. But my thing is, you could argue that, okay, are the jobs that are going to come out in the market after the adaptation or whatever, are going to be the same as the ones that are being taken away from the market. That's something we can argue about, but and we'll never know. We just got to wait.
Yeah. And also because a lot of people who say, like discussing that it's not going to take jobs, they compare it to the industrial revolution. But a key differentiator with AI to the previous technologies that happened before that AI can expand quite faster than anything that we have dealt with before.
100%.
It's not like the factory or the assembly line back in the days when Ford made their car. It's not like the industrial revolution. It's not like the internet. It's much faster to expand. So once it reaches a point, it just go out of control.
Again, the thing is, يعني الناس يفكرون ان AI شيء جديد. لا مش جديد ابدا. It started from, if you go back, you'll see research papers in like 1950s or so.
Yeah.
بس ما كان عندنا resources, ما كان عندنا data وكل شيء. حسب شيء around 2014 or so, you saw this change wherein maybe a little earlier than that, GPUs started kicking in. And we see NVIDIA being so...
and quantum computers,
Exactly, quantum computing. So it's, people say it's growing all of a sudden. Yeah, but it's been there since ages. Let's not forget that. So
it's been there like for ages, but it was like more like garden with huge resources and maybe government and maybe it was very unique to get an access to it. If you know Ray Dalio is he's an investor, like a very wealthy investor. He was talking in one of his books about how he using AI in his business like more than 20 years ago. And now the challenge is that everyone has access to it.
Exactly.
So you can just imagine the level of chaos and
innovation
that's going to bring.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just as AI is adapting, you as a job searcher has to adapt as well. Like I was talking to you about, لازم تكون عندك يعني different qualities, and you have to be able to do a lot of things, not just technical, non-technical as well. So I feel like there will come a time where it's going to be hard to just stay technical, because what is shown is what sells. You may not know much, but if you can, as we say, speak properly, then you may be able to get jobs that other people may not. It's not just, you may think it's unfair. It's not unfair. You know why? Because just because doesn't mean you're going to be able to propagate that to other people around you. As an engineer, as whatever you are, you have to be able to speak with people and explain to them what you have. Right? And if you can't do that by making it extremely simple and making other people be able to understand that, then you're not a complete person in the company. You're not really going to help the company as much because you're going to keep that knowledge with you. You're not going to be able to, for example, tell people to like brainstorm with you because they will not be able to understand your perspective, right? They don't know what you're exactly thinking. And for example, where can the technology that you have at hand can go to, things like that. So that's why you can't say it's unfair. But of course, if you are an introvert and you can't do that, then it's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, and let me be honest, like I'm an introvert personally, and I can tell you a lot of people that actually within my circle that they are really successful in their career, they are actually introverts, but they learned how to speak, they learned to go against their comfort zone and all of that. Think about it this way, I really like your take in here because it's not about fair, and I guess trying to look into it from an angle of fairness or justice, it's not the right approach. You should look into it from an angle of driving value or giving value.
Exactly.
The technical part is part of the value, but also it's important to have the business savviness so you can understand when it's going to be matter the most to the business, and then the communication part to actually deliver it. It's not just about like people who just can talk, they can steal the show. This is actually wrong because it will be only a matter of time and they will be exposed.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. You being something technical and non-technical is what's going to make you the X factor for the company. They'll want to hire you, right? So this is why I think the thing is the market, the people in marketing, as you would probably know 100%, they know how to talk. And a lot of them may not know what they're saying, but they definitely know what to do, right?
Yeah.
And then the technical people, they don't know how to talk. So the guy that's most lethal is going to be someone in between the two. Who can handle both the scenarios, equally as well. And in terms of being exposed, he won't be exposed, right? Because he knows the technical stuff. And I would assume people in marketing and stuff are probably more likely to not say that they don't know something than people who are coming from a technical background. They'd probably be like, yeah, you know what, I don't know about this, and I'll go back, look into it, and then let you know what I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's how it is.
Actually, this is very interesting because you know what? The main reason why I created this channel was because of this. Because of that, I have seen that there is, when it comes to especially digital marketing, that there is two big groups of people. In one group, you have people who really know how to speak, but they have zero knowledge or minimum knowledge when it comes to technical things.
100%.
And on the other side, you have people that they are really strong technically, but like they really struggle when it comes to showing their work.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the main purpose of this channel.
Okay.
So we can show them people who are really good at their career and they know how to speak, so they can learn one or two things from each and every episode. Yeah, but I totally agree with you. And also there is a lot of value if you are in whatever the field, especially in marketing, actually, when you face a situation and you say, I don't know.
Yeah.
This shows and this drives authenticity that you, and again, a huge part of to be successful in your career, whatever the career here in the UAE and the MENA region, is actually how can you cultivate trust.
Exactly.
And in those small encounter or small situations, people or the decision makers are going to think in their minds, thinking like, oh, is this a person that I can trust, or I know that he's just going to say anything just to save himself from the situation.
Yeah.
This is very important. Okay, so we have deviated a little bit from the AI thing.
It's all part of the reach for growth. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah, like that. So okay, so now let's have another discussion from three different layers. Okay, let's talk about AI from corporate side. Like if I'm a big decision maker on a corporate conglomerate and I want to include AI as part of my strategy, how should I face this or tackle this from your point of view? Second, I'm going to take it from as an employee working in a company that I want to stay relevant in my field. And third, I'm going to talk about it from a technical person who's working with AI. How can he approach the market? Okay?
No problem.
Let's start with the corporate side first.
So you want to basically incorporate AI into your business or whatever, and now you're looking to how do you go about it? Who do you hire and things like that?
Yeah.
One of the things that I disagree with wholeheartedly is a lot of the people, the way they hire, again, this could be because of my situation, but I think, and I believe this, is the fact that because the thought leaders and these people at the higher posts, they don't get involved enough, in the hiring process is where things go wrong. So they need a guy who is going to align with their business values, who's going to be technically sound, but also a guy who's able to say or able to disagree with the person who is, at that large post or, So I think one of the ways, of course, they can do this, they need to, of course, hire technical people. There's no doubt about it. You can't just hire someone non-technical. But, these business people or these people at, CTOs, CEOs, they have a very good way of gauging people's potential that recruiters at a lower level will just not have. They just cannot, it's impossible. Because these people at these higher posts have experienced so many people in their life, they're able to gauge very quickly if this person is working hard, even if it doesn't work hard, he's going to be successful, where is he going to go? Can he learn something new? Because of that, I feel like they should, take it upon themselves to be more of the, a part of the hiring process so they can gauge beforehand if the person they are hiring is going to be, may not currently align with them, but may have qualities that, will eventually make them align with their business values, with their technical, input, and someone who is able to say, no, I think this is a big deal. I think a lot of the times, the way organizations are shaped and things like that, people find it difficult to say no, because how is it going to affect my relationship with the boss or with this person, things like that. But what I think? I feel like if you say no, is again, the authenticity comes into play where you're like, I'm confident enough to say that what you believe in terms of this being beneficial for our business, I disagree with because of so and so, right? And it's fine to be, to disagree. So I think these people need to, the people at these higher posts need to be more of a part of the, this hiring process. I think that's very key because I don't think it's happening enough, right? And they should also, again, I don't know how much knowledge they have, but there, of course, is this intuition in a person that they can judge beforehand, okay, this person will reach this stage in his life after 5 years or so. If there are some metrics they have in their mind, they could tell the talent recruiter, listen, I want you to focus on these things. Don't focus on the resume itself. You can focus on how he speaks maybe, or like, what is he going to, is he ambitious enough? Is he, how is he approaching the job description, whatever? Is he willing to say, you know what, I don't know this, I'm willing to learn, I'm a fast learner. So, but not just say it, like you can see it in him, like he will actually do that. And it's these people at the higher post who can actually get this done. So that's my take.
So to summarize, I guess the first point that you mentioned here is the importance to hire the right people
100%.
As part of your AI strategy in 2025.
Yep.
Right. So, okay. So what else, or what are the other pillar of an AI strategy that you may think about when it comes to 2025? Again, think about it from the angle of a conglomerate or a huge business that they want to get exposed to AI. Of course, they are going to hire the right people, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So, but what else do they need to consider now?
The thing is, the right people, it's just the right people is the difficult part about this. Do you hire someone who is very experienced? Do you hire someone who's fresh? Who do you hire? Do you hire someone who's completely embroiled into the technicalities of things? Or, because see, again, you need someone to adapt. In this day and age, you need someone who's willing to adapt like that. Because it's 2025. Things are going to change. Even from 2025 to 2026, things are going to change. Because of this, I think it's that balance that they need to strike, wherein that if you hire someone who's completely technical and who's been there since like 15 years, now that person is likely not to be as technical in the newer things. Because again, let's be honest, no one really wants to keep adapting and keep learning as time passes by. Except doctors, maybe that's a different story. I mean, they are saving human lives, so, but that's one factor. And then there's someone who's completely fresh. But then you're like, what technical acumen does he have? So that's one of the things. And the strategy is, it's the business mindset. Does this person have the ability to drive growth? Can he help me in some way? How well do you think? Okay, one of the ways they can do this is, they ask the person, how will you apply AI to drive our business growth? So someone at the director level can be like, you know what? I ask you from this position, how can you help me or my company? It does not necessarily mean that the idea needs to be something new or something very, advanced. Anything that the person is confident about and shows the person is in the market as well as in the technical side of things. Both of them with the latest strategy. If he comes up with that in the interview, you can be like, you know what? Let's hire this person and see what comes of it.
Okay, and if I ask you right now the same question, what would you answer?
What question exactly?
Like, okay, let's hypothetical business first. Let's say we are a retail business. Yeah. And I come and I ask you, how can we use AI to improve my business?
Yeah. So for you, again, it's just those KPIs. You want to hit those KPIs, right? So what you're going to do is I'm just going to ask you to give me the data. I'm going to ask you, what kind of data do you have, right? I want to ask you, I want your sales data, and I want your marketing data. I want the ROIs coming in. And you mentioned, I saw one of your LinkedIn posts. It was about focusing on the profit rather than the revenue. I want both of those data sets. Give them to me. I'm going to take both of them, all of them from you. And then I'm going to try and, like I said before, I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, that I want to see the factor that contributes the most to that profit or revenue being capitalized. And not just that, okay, now I may tell you, you know what, customer retention is how you're getting the most profit or marketability. But then you may ask me, excuse me, the customer retention is there. How is the customer retention, how does that come about? What factors are affecting that part of it? And then essentially you start off with this bigger viewpoint and you keep digging in deeper. And you keep going into the nitty-gritties, and that's how I'm going to tell you, and this is how I'm going to help you out if you want to hire me. Simple as that, right?
So as I understand it, for you, it's more like AI is a tool to help solve the business business problem.
Yeah.
And it's not something that is actually, okay, now this is our AI milestone. Number 1, we're going to do this. Number 2 is we're going to do this.
Yeah. Again, it's not clear. You're not sure. Even I, as a AI engineer or researcher or whatever you have, I myself am not exactly sure as to how I'm going to approach the problem. But I do know that 100% if I dig into this data from, the techniques of AI and whatever have you, I know I'll find something that will help you out for sure. Because obviously there is something that's driving the business growth. Something is, retaining the customers and things like that. The churn rate, whatever you have. So 100%, I'm going to be able to find, me dealing with all this data and stuff, I'm definitely going to be able to find something to help you out. Which may not be something that people are able to get out by not digging that deep into the data, So that's how I view this.
Okay, but I can summarize out of this that the second pillar when it comes to your AI strategy is actually ensuring that you have data that is unified across all your business before thinking about AI or anything like that. Because if you don't have data, you cannot just go and think about AI.
No. This is the big issue. That is the biggest issue. People come up to me and they say that, we have the startup idea, we want to build it. Do you have the data? You don't. And you tell me that you can acquire. Okay, now the thing is, acquiring data is tough as well. Because anonymity is the name of the game. So if you want data, you may say, this government organization may have the data, this private company may have it. But then again, how are you going to get the data from them? You need them to buy into your idea, your business idea. Which, by the way, is, I think, how a lot of the companies start, a lot of the startups start. But this is where the real marketing or selling technique comes into play, where you are able to convince these people to give you that data set. Because that's what is really going to make things go there. So, again, to be able to do this, you don't need just a person who's sound in terms of the non-technicalities, but someone who knows the technical stuff. Because the company or the government organization is going to definitely ask you, like, excuse me, you don't have anything right now. You're coming to us with this value proposition. But then again, how confident are you that this will work out? How exactly? And they're going to tell you, you know what? We're going to bring in our technical people. They're going to sit in front. You need to tell them, this is how we can do it. I mean, you can say investors have money, but then again, they need convincing. And to convince them, you need both arts. But I think a lot of these startup companies, they do start from a place where they just do not have the data in the beginning. Unless you're a services company, you don't really care about the data, you're just giving services. But if you're someone who needs to make a product, you're going to have to start like this without the main thing, which is the data. That's the trick.
Okay. And when it comes to collecting the data, it's very important to get it directly from the consumer, from the customer, to ensure that you have the consent. The customer is willingly giving you his or her data for you to use it, so you better can understand it. Do you know any specific techniques or from your research that you have seen that is actually better when it comes to getting the customer or the consumer consent to get her or their own data?
Give them something and take something from them. Simple as that. You have to, you can do, there's so many ways. You can give them offers, you can give them discounts. I'm telling you, people will give you their data. It's not, okay, these big, huge influencers or someone, they probably want you to have their data. But normal people who don't have the biggest, money in their bank, or they don't have people running after them, they don't really mind people taking their data. So long as it's not, too private, because we're not really asking for that private data, right? We're asking for, I want to be able to recommend people the products that they may be interested in, depending on their patterns of spending money or their patterns of being interested in, or their research history on the application. So that's not really that private, right? It's just their interests. Because anyway, their data has already gone to the company that they're actually shopping from. So is it that private anymore? No, it's not, So with incentives, discounts, offers, I think you can convince them. Of course, if you're going to tell them, this is going to change the world and AI is going to kick in, they're not going to buy into it. I don't think normal consumers are going to do that. But something that resonates with them, I think people in marketing would definitely know what you can sell them.
Better shopping experience, so we can tell you your favorite product when it comes back. Or here is, as you mentioned the discount, you mentioned the offers and all of that. Yeah. So, and I guess the third pillar when it comes to like setting a corporate strategy, or when it comes to AI, is actually to try to start with small use cases, not to try to go with complicated use cases first. What do you think about that?
100% agree with you. I 100,000% agree with you, because, people, if you start with something complicated, it's very possible that you get lost into what you exactly want to do. What is your driving, what's the drive in you? Like, why are you doing what you're doing? Do you really know that? Well, if you're doing something complicated, it's very difficult for you to narrow it down. And not is it just difficult for you, it's difficult for you to actually market to people like, excuse me, this is what I'm trying to do, or this is how it's done. Two things. This is what I'm trying to do. This is how it's done. If you're not able to tell this to the person that you're trying to sell your product to, they will not buy into it. And because if you make it too complicated, you yourself are not going to buy into it. So it's going to become, simple as that. So I mean, I'll tell you about, there was this competition at UAE level. So we had the UAE Arab and IoT challenge, and we had the Arab IoT and AI challenge last year. So in my university, right? So I mean, not in my university, like it's we took part in GITEX North Star, things like that. So essentially, it was about the fact that if you have something wherein you have a prototype, it's going to help your cause to win. But then it was all about the pitch. So we had 3 minutes to pitch in both of the competitions. We did have the prototype. Now, personally, 2 of our team members did not even buy into the idea. 2 of us did not buy into the idea. The third time, I'm not too sure, because his background is from the background of someone who's from finance and stuff. But me and the other person, we were from the AI backgrounds. We did not really buy into it. But it was about selling it. And not just selling it on something which is bogus, selling it on a real point. So we say, you know what, let's do something. Let's make it, let's sell something like deepfake detection. We're going to detect deepfakes. Very normal, very common everywhere. You see it everywhere. So everyone is doing this. Now, how do we make this unique? That's the test. And okay, we put in the normal things. We have the model, we have the prototype, everything's there. The way we pitched it is that we said, listen, all these, models have been trained on data mostly from the US, maximum from Europe. But when it comes to UAE, it's much more diverse, the population. The clothing of people is different. It's very highly likely that these models will fail here. There's a valid point. And so we need to collect data. And how are we going to collect data? We're going to make an application. We're going to take people's consent and just, we'll give them a game to play, and then we'll collect data from people. So we're solving 2 problems. The data, the model training, we have the model, but it's not been trained on the right data set. And the other thing is, how are we going to collect the data set? How are we going to solve that issue of collecting the data? 2 of these things, we pitched it. And of course, you have to, use the right words, and, everything has to be the right time. We even had our professor on. So our professor was a part of the pitches as well, which mostly doesn't happen. But, it's one of the reasons I love working with him, is because he's very much like me in the way he, approaches these things. Which is also one of the reasons I approached you, is because I saw the podcasting. So I saw there's something different about you compared to everyone else. Okay, people are doing the writing the post and LinkedIn, but no one is like actually taking the initiative, being like, you know what, let's make something, let's reach for the growth. So I was like, and so we won the competitions based on an idea which we ourselves did not believe in, because we stated something which is true. And we marketed it well.
But why you didn't believe in it? Like for me, like when I listen to this, it actually sounds like a good idea. Why you didn't believe in?
Okay, so again, is it something real? Yeah, for sure, it's something real. The reason I didn't believe in it is because, again, I personally believe that you're gonna need funds. You're gonna need to develop the application. Okay, it's not that difficult anymore to do all these things, and even you can take it to the government and things like that. But what I have believed personally is that because there are solutions that have already been developed. So okay, these data sets or these models may not exist openly, but we have companies like, for example, in Abu Dhabi, we have G42, we have M40, and we have companies even in Dubai making solutions tailored to the UAE market and the Gulf.
To the region, yeah.
So it's very likely that they've already developed, again, most of the government institutions now are putting that, face detection system or whatever, iris scanning. So they're definitely already done with this, in my personal opinion. That's why I do not believe in it, because I'm like, we're not really bringing something unique into it. Now, we could enter the market as competitors and do it better than them. But the competition is fierce with someone as big as, a government organization, So that's that,
But really, I think it's like, okay, allow me to challenge you a little bit in here. Because
yeah, sure.
My personal opinion, and again, I'm not expert when it comes to an AI. I have some knowledge, but I'm not anyway an expert. You don't have to come with something that is totally like new to the market.
Yeah, you don't have to.
And even for like a lot of the businesses that we seen or we read about or we have been seen for the past 20 years, you can see that easily. You just have to start.
Yeah.
And you'll never know. Maybe the other company is going to buy you. Maybe the bigger company with the bigger resources they're going to buy you. Maybe you're going to make a small difference. But if the main reason that you didn't believe in your idea that you just thought that the other competition with bigger resources, they just
No, it's just
have
that
been done
we
through
kind
it.
of we kind of felt that it's already done. Of course, it's the other factors like our situation. Like we're not. We were approaching it as something fun in the beginning. We ended up winning, coming in second in both the competitions. But it's just that we just didn't like we thought that the solution's already out there. And if it's not there, then you have the big competition. Of course, you can take it to the government and say, you know what, we have something. You can, work with us and stuff like that. But again, that was my opinion at that time. Am I saying that I still have the same opinion? I'm not sure. I have to think about it again.
Yeah.
But at that time, my situation was different, and there was other stuff happening in life, courses and stuff. So
Okay, fair.
time changes.
No, but I would just a little bit like I wanted to chat because it's very for me, like personally, if you're going to start something, you have to put your heart
100%.
into it.
Exactly.
And if you don't believe in it, let's not
Don't
waste
do it.
time and let's. Yeah.
That's exactly it. So that's how I approach life. That's how I approach. So one of the things, like, I did not, I kept thinking, I think I should go on social media. I think I should, because I think I can do well there, But until I believed in it fully, I didn't really start doing it, right? So I'm a big believer, just like you. And like, if you're not going to commit 100%, you better not commit. That's why even right now, like currently, like people come to me, like I've talked with people, and they have some roles and things like that. Until I fully, I'm not saying I'm not going to accept the role, but if I don't fully accept it in my heart, like I'm going to go for this like big time, I'm not going to be a part of it until that moment. So that's one of the things, right? Again, my opinions change with time. And I would say that I'm much more of a risk taker, much more of an conventional person at the moment, like I told you before, than I was even, honestly, 2 months ago. So because again, I've met people, I've had exposure now, then people tell me, you can do this, try this and stuff like that. Changes. Go out there, expose yourself to people, market yourself, and they will tell you what weaknesses you have, strengths you have, and they may want to work with you.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm going to take a little bit like small deviation here from our topic, but I'm going to go to get back to it. So, 2 things. Number 1, it doesn't really matter what other people think of you.
100%.
Yeah. Of course, we are not. I'm not saying that you have to go like to be like, hey, ignoring people or be arrogant in a way that you don't listen. But at some point, when it comes to your career, when it comes to your future growth, you have to listen, but you know that the voice that makes the most important voice is the voice that you have in your head about yourself. This is number 1. And number 2 is to have the courage. If you even you're looking for this voice to come and it's not there, have the courage to wait. Yeah, wait till the voice comes, till you know exactly what you're looking for. But it's very risky. If we as people or as professionals, if we're going to do what we believe we're going to do because we believe it's going to work, and we don't have the agency or the buy-in from ourselves that why we're doing this. Finding our why is very important, because the why will give you the fuel that it's not going to be something for 1 year, 2 years. It's going to give you a fuel that you can run with for 10 years.
The why will put you in front of the people with courage and be like, you know what, this is who I am. Let's work together. That's the why. And again, like I told you, like, meeting people and things like that, I always wanted to do this. But it's just that once I've, and network with people, for example, I had this in me. I waited. Once I bought into it, I started doing it, and people gave me more fuel because they say, you know what, this is the right thing to do. This is how we're supposed to approach life, right? Aside from being, just be the boring person, sit at home and keep, applying things. So again, everyone has their opinions and everyone is different. Not everyone is going to agree with me or with my method of doing something. But at the end of the day, we agree to disagree. But, okay, people are successful in different ways. But I want to have some fun doing what I'm doing. And, there should be some interesting thing happening in life, right? And by the way, the more you meet with people, the more things you have to talk about as well. So that adds to all of that as well.
Yeah. So I totally believe that the person sitting in his home doing nothing or just applying, he's not a boring person, but I guess he's taking so much risk because he's wasting his own time. This is the biggest risk that you can take if you are within your 20s. You just cannot afford wasting any time.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
you make applying for jobs your full-time job until you get a job. That's what I think, and you have to be different from the market. How do you do that? You do unconventional stuff. You do different stuff. You're different from them, right? That's what I believe in. But again, there was something going to my mind. I think I just forgot. It was a very So you are sitting at home. You're probably eventually you're gonna be working. But the thing that was coming to my mind is you reach a certain stage, you get your job. You get where you want to be at. Don't just stop there. Don't think that so where I'm in my comfort zone and go back to that, let's go back on the sofa and just go 9 to 5 خلاص
the
عادي
sofa mindset.
نكمل حياتنا شيء لا ما يستوي. What you do is you have bigger goals, and again I may be sounding philosophical, but
It's good.
you should want to do something for the people, right? Because that's something you will never be able to fully achieve ever. So that's something you're always going to be. So whatever success I reach, I want people to come with me. I want people to grow with me, and I want to do something for humanity at large. Is I think what's going to continue making you strive for better, reach higher posts, have more power to make decisions, help more people. Get into contact with more powerful people, because then you can actually help more people. You're not getting the power just for yourself. If you're doing things for yourself, then it's your wish. But like for me, that's definitely not something that motivates me enough. That's not gonna. I don't think that's gonna help me be successful in life.
And I guess it's very important for everyone actually to spend time to understand what motivates you.
Yeah.
Is it really individual goals? Is it like helping others? And there is no wrong answer. Maybe you are motivated by your own self, and it's okay, but at least spend time. I highly suggest book your calendar, maybe 2 hours. This is I'm going to sit with myself to understand what motivates me.
100%.
And use it as have a notebook.
If you don't know what motivates you, go and meet people. They will tell you what you need to be doing. I'm telling you, it's difficult to explain, but I found my right path, or whatever path I'm on right now, is because when I met people, they told me, this you can do much more than just what you're doing right now. Than just being boring and stuff. خلاص, go and test things out for you, for yourself. And what better way to test things out, unless you do it on your own, right? So like I said before, even if someone wants to have coffee with you, go and meet them and see what they have to say. They may just want to work with you.
Yeah, and I guess this is so powerful, because with meeting people, and when for example, that someone is motivated by X, maybe you don't like that.
Yeah.
So you will know yourself by contrast.
Yeah.
That this person is motivated by, for example, purely money. You don't like that. So you know something that you don't want to be.
The disagreement will come inside your heart straight away. As soon as you meet the person and they tell you, listen, I want to do this, and I will want you to do this, and you're like, no. You can do that, but I cannot do this, right? And it can be anything. It can be according to your ethics, your morals, your religion, anything. But if you don't buy into it, you're not going to be able to capitalize ever, because you're always going to go down. You're always going to go to sleep thinking of, am I doing something right? So until you fully are at peace, But the thing is, once you decide, go for it. Just go for it, full throttle, and don't hold back. And but then you're going to reach a place where you get things done. But the thing is, don't stop there. In that sense, spread the word to people. Try and help people in situations. Be the positivity that changes people's lives. Give them advices. You're going to meet so many people. Eventually, you're going to learn how to talk to people in a way where it's not direct enough to make them feel uncomfortable, make them feel like you're giving them advice or being their parent or something. But you have to. If you don't make people around you better, then I don't think you're achieving your goal. And it's going to teach you as well. Then you're going to learn how you can find qualities in people and tell them, listen, man, you can do this. I believe in you. So you're essentially turning into the person that you used to meet in the beginning of your career, in the beginning of your journey, or whatever.
This is super
it's
awesome.
A whole circle.
Yeah.
Comes around. You know what I mean?
You have a big philosopher in you.
Maybe that's why I'm here today.
Cool. So now, and just I want to finish with this. Like, we have approximately 5 minutes, and in 5 minutes, like, what can you say? Can you give a roadmap for people who are working right now, maybe in marketing or in digital marketing or in any kind of profession, and they want to use AI to their advantage? What steps that they need to follow to ensure that they stay relevant?
I think the first step is to use AI itself for this purpose.
No, don't take courses. Use the AI.
First, use the AI.
I
AI
love
is going
that,
to tell
yeah.
you what courses you need to take. So first tell AI, this is what I do. This is my job description. This is what I do. This is what I want to do. How can I put AI into this? Okay, it's going to tell you, Chat, GPT, Gemini, all of these guys are going to tell you, listen, it's not guys, like models, but they're essentially guys or girls at this point. They'll tell you this is what you got to do. Now, what courses do I need to ask them? What courses do I need to do? They'll tell you as well. That's the best start. But it doesn't just end there. There's always, you reaching out to people in the same industry as you who have a background of, I wouldn't say just go and contact someone who's in AI itself. The best thing to do is to find someone just like you, but who's already doing this, who's applying AI into their life or into their business or whatever. Ask them what I need to do to stay relevant. And the last thing would be ready to experiment. Be ready to experiment and always aim for growth. If you go stagnant and you're at peace with your life, it's good for you. But the thing is, you can never know if it's good for you for the future because things are changing drastically everywhere. Like the world has changed. So after COVID, I think everything has changed, right?
Yeah, true.
So AI became a huge thing after COVID. I think 1 or 2 years, ChatGPT came out, changed the world. Imagine how much it's changed the world. And now we have things like, like I told you, I mentioned we are not being able to control the videos and stuff at the moment. Public models is what I'm talking about. I don't know once Sora comes out or these other models come out, can we control things in a way where we can just produce movies by sitting at home without coding? So adaptation and not just this. Keep yourself in touch with the latest market trends, right? On LinkedIn, surround yourself with people who are thought leaders or thinkers or people like that. You kind of know what's coming in the future and how jobs are changing and how you can use that to your advantage. So I think that would be the way. Just the best advice is don't sit on your laurels, don't sit on your heels. Just keep keep going.
I love that. Yeah, use it.
Use it.
You worried about AI? Use it every day.
100%. So AI motivation. That's the name of this podcast, I think.
This was really fun having you here, Shahzeb.
It's fun here too.
How can people reach out to you?
People can reach out to me. The easiest way, I think, would be LinkedIn. So I am SNAEEM. So www.linkedin.com/.
This is your website?
This is my LinkedIn account. Just the link.
So don't worry about that. I'm going to attach your LinkedIn profile to the description.
If you want to reach out to me on Instagram, Shutter My Lens, you can reach out there as well.
For sure.
Facebook, don't reach out to me on Facebook. I don't want you to. Email. I don't know if I should put my email here, but I don't think is it supposed to put it out or not? I don't know.
I don't know. Let's spot it anyway. You should give it to me. I'm going to attach it to the description of the video. I guess we're going to have one more session in the future.
100%.
More technical because we didn't cover more about the professionals.
I don't know if you felt this, but I try to keep the technical aspect as far away as possible because, to appeal to the masses, they want to understand. But the thing with this will be because we have touched on these facets from the top, once we go into it in more detail in the next podcast, perhaps, people will be able to understand it much better because now they have the overview, right? And even then, I'm going to try and keep it as simple as I can.
No, it was really good.
And by the way, for the record, I'm not going to say that I'm an expert or I know everything the best way. This is just my, viewpoint of everything. Yeah,
this is just a chat, discussion.
So that's how it is.
Cool.
I hope you guys liked it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Reach for growth, reach for more. Performance marketing hardcore. Tune in, listen.